Hello, everyone. This is Bill Apter, and I just finished taping an episode of Count It Out with Mike and Tyler, or Tyler and Mike. They're brilliant hosts. You've got to listen. You've got to see. Count It Out. Yeah, I endorse it. They've got the After Chat seal of approval.
Shawn Williams from the Cincinnati Bengals, and I want to give a shout out to the Count It Out podcast.
Well, we are live, pals, and before I welcome you to the Bill Apter Sealed of Approved Count It Out, before I introduce you to Mojito Mike, before I tell you my name is Tyler Wolf, we just have one thing to say. How about them Cincinnati Bengals, Super Bowl bound? What a rush. The fan of me is going crazy. I've supported them since 1997. Mike has jumped on board the beginning of the year. Who day all day. Mike, you picked a great year to invest in the NFL. You picked an even better year to jump on the Bengals bandwagon. And I tell everybody there's plenty of room on the bandwagon because there wasn't any fans before. It was just me. So welcome aboard, man. How hyped are you watching the Cincinnati Bengals this year?
Let me tell you something, man. I didn't get to talk about this last week because I wasn't on the show last week, but I had told you a secret last weekend that I was hiding this from a lot of people, including you, because I wanted to be surprised. I've been watching football pretty much all season. I've been learning about things. but I didn't want to tell people because I didn't want to be that guy when conversation came up. I didn't know enough. It's a complicated fucking sport, so I didn't want to look like a jackass. So until I knew enough, until I felt comfortable talking about it, I just kept it under wraps. But I decided, I'm like, well, if I'm going to do this, I need to follow a team. I've always been like that. I can't just jump into a sport. I need to be invested.
Yep.
And if I'm going to jump into a team, why not the fucking Bengals?
Mm-hmm.
Why not because it's not like I have a home team to root for. So I figured, you know what? The closest thing to a home team is the Count It Out team, and that's got to be the Bengals.
That's right.
So about 7 or 8 weeks ago, I got that the app, the DAZN, and it's got every game of the season. So from the beginning, I watched every single Bengals game of the season, and then came the playoffs. I hadn't watched any live football at all because I was just catching up on the pre-recorded games. And then came our game against the Titans. This is the first time I'm watching a game live on television while I'm working, by the way. Man, those 2 days of football were the most insane days I've spent as a sports fan in any sport. All 4 games were phenomenal, just amazing. That Bills game is probably I'm being told is the best football playoff game in history.
That might be the best football game ever, as far as I'm concerned.
It was insane. But our game against the Titans, the LA's game against the Buccaneers, it was all like I got to watch it all. It was phenomenal. And then, of course, this past weekend we went up against KC, took out Mahomes and the boys to get our ticket to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Like you said, man, I picked a hell of a year to start watching football, a hell of a year to start being a Bengals fan, but I couldn't be happier that I did. I picked a hell of a team.
Yeah,
not just a hell of a team. I picked a hell of a team. Look at this team. I took a hell of a year to jump on to the Cincinnati Bengals. I guess I needed a Joe Burrows or an Evan McPherson or my boy Chase to get me onto a team like that, because this team is fucking unstoppable right now.
Well, take it from somebody who's been a Bengals fan since 1997. I also needed a Joe Burrow. I also needed it because there's been a lot of years where we were the Bungles. There's been a lot of losing seasons. When they kicked that field goal, I sprayed champagne all over my basement like a wild animal. It was awesome. I know we're a wrestling podcast. We'll get back to wrestling. Well, I guess we can start talking about wrestling now. But my God, the Super Bowl cannot come fast enough. Who day, all day, Cincinnati Bengals. I love it.
And to our good friend Sean Gibson, I just want to say, why not us?
Come on. Ben Roethlisberger, get out of here, Pittsburgh Steelers. That's a different story. I'm gonna get us banned from Barry Wrestling if I go on this rant because Sean Gibson's Pittsburgh Steelers have beat us for the last 20 years. So it's our turn now. It's our turn for some wins. And it's your turn for the list this week. You were out last week. You're being a good dad, which is always a good thing. And we had Jonah and Jeremy and surprise number 30 entrant Anthony joining us. Really fun show.
As much as I hated missing the show, it was fun to kind of sit on the outside and watch it for once. And you guys did a good job. I'm not always a big fan of the 4-man booth, you know what I mean? But you guys did a good job. Didn't overcrowd it. I'm digging this Jeremy guy. I don't know Jeremy. I can say I know Jonah and Anthony well, but I don't know Jeremy. So he was a welcome addition to the team last week. They all had great points.
He's the hottest free agent in the podcasting game, and we're trying to ink him up to a counted out contract. It pays nothing, and the work is vigorous. But no, everyone did a great job. You know who else did a great job last week? Me. Because not only did I, steer the ship with the 4-man booth, the three guests, but I also fucking knocked my Royal Rumble predictions out of the park. The only thing I got wrong was Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins on a DQ finish, but Roman was still the champ. I called both Royal Rumble winners. I called all the matches along the way. I mean, not bad for a guy who has been watching a lot of WWE product lately.
Yeah, I'd love to say I'm proud of you, but did you also predict that it was going to be a dog shit pay-per-view? Or
I mean, I'm going to disagree with you on that. I enjoy it.
I know you are. And you know what? I'm being too harsh. It wasn't a dog shit pay-per-view. There were some parts of the pay-per-view that I did enjoy. And we're going to break it down. We're going to talk about what we did like. I try not to be too negative, but where I'm going to be negative is the Royal Rumble match, the men's match specifically. I think, in my opinion, it was the most boring Royal Rumble match until the last 5 minutes, until Brock Lesnar hit that fucking ring. It was the most boring men's match maybe in history.
I don't know. I disagree. I disagree with you.
The only people, I know you said it, you like, they gave a lot of people shine. Other than Happy Corbin, I don't think anybody shined.
I think Austin Theory did a fantastic showing in the Royal Rumble. He went about a half an hour. AJ Styles looked great in the Rumble. I thought his elimination was a little anticlimactic. Rick Moss, what's his name? The guy that's with Happy Corbin.
Oh yeah, I like that guy.
He had a great showing with Corbin. Cat Moss. Yeah. That Bogues guy looking like Ted Arsini with his red trunks on. I thought a lot of people got to shine, man. I thought Omos, or whatever the hell his name is, had a good. Almost, yeah. I know he's not the greatest in-ring worker, but they booked him real strong in that. Riddle looked great in the match. A couple guys I thought could have done better. Kevin Owens, I would like to see a little better showing out of. I wish they would have booked him a little stronger. I thought the Johnny Knoxville stuff was fun while it lasted. I'm a big Jackass fan. Sami Zayn was great as always. You know why I think everybody hated this Royal Rumble, Mike? And I think this is a big, big problem that people need to address. Wrestling fans, I need you to give yourself a look in the mirror here. All you people tell us online, you read Twitter, you read Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Everybody complains, oh, well, they don't push this generation. They're, this and that. And now everybody's upset because there was no nostalgia surprise entrances. Well, you know what? You shouldn't bank the Royal Rumble match. People shouldn't look forward to the Royal Rumble to see Hurricane Helms come out or to see none of these people are going to win the Rumble match. You know what I mean? You guys want these people to be the focus of the product and to be pushed. Well, guess what? You got Austin Theory for 30 minutes. You got AJ Styles for 40 minutes. You know what I mean?
Hey, man, if you wanted nostalgia, all you have to do is go watch the Women's Rumble because that's all it fucking was.
That's it. And I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong. I feel like every year that people say the Royal Rumble match is shit.
That's not my problem. That's not my problem. I just found it boring. That's all. That's my only thing. I'm not gonna. I just found it extreme. I did not find myself invested whatsoever. I was already, as much as it finally got exciting to me when Brock got in, I was not happy with that addition. I don't like that they went that route, to be perfectly honest. I don't think this story didn't need Brock winning the Royal Rumble. It didn't at all. So I don't like that they're going that way, especially now where it looks like it's a big possibility where Brock's gonna go and win the Elimination Chamber anyways, and fucking still go win as champion.
Yeah, if he wins the Elimination Chamber, I won't like him winning the Rumble. I think him coming out and winning the Rumble is a great story. He got screwed by Heyman, and he just. I wish though. The only thing I didn't like is I wish that he would have. Like you remember a couple years ago how Nia Jax took out R-Truth. Yeah. Remember when I wish Brock would have done that. I think Brock should have like.
I still don't think that it needed to go down like that. You could have gave.
Who would you put over?
Anybody. Just,
who?
I don't give a fuck. I don't care.
You have to give me, but you have to tell me a name.
No, I don't. Pick one of 29 fucking people.
You can't sit there. You can't sit there and say Brock Lesnar shouldn't have won. Okay, who should have won? I don't know. I don't care. Well, that's stupid.
I don't care.
Because they're telling a story. Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns are the two.
My problem isn't who didn't win. My problem is who won. My problem is instead of you just talked about 2 seconds ago about putting the younger guys over.
Yeah.
Put one of the younger guys over rather than
if you put Austin Theory over.
Go make another fucking Shawn Michaels, another Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's how they made their fucking names in the Royal Rumble.
These guys aren't ready. These guys aren't ready to win the Royal Rumble and main event WrestleMania. The only other name that I would have put over instead of Brock would be maybe AJ Styles.
Yeah, because Big E couldn't have used it.
Big E? Who's Big E? Where's he been?
Oh, I'm sorry, a former champion only 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, the terrible title reign.
Oh, fuck.
He did nothing. Mike, Big E did nothing as a world champion. I'm sorry. I love Big E as a performer. That guy did not do anything to elevate his stock as the world champion. Well, he's right back to where
you're the one person in the world who likes Brock Lesnar winning this fucking thing.
I think Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns are the two best things in your company. It's not even a question. And Brock Lesnar, his work the last 3 weeks.
My problem is for the stories. It doesn't make sense. It didn't have to happen like that.
But for the storyline, it makes more sense.
It would have made a much better story for me if Brock, after getting screwed over by Paul Heyman, now Brock has to work every week to get his shot at Roman Reigns.
Why? Brock's special. He should not work every week. Brock Lesnar should not work every week.
We're not going.
I don't want to see him fight on SmackDown against fucking Sami Zayn.
You don't want to.
That's stupid. Make these guys special. Roman shouldn't fight every week. Brock shouldn't fight every week. When they don't fight a lot, it makes them more special.
I don't remember saying anything about him fighting every week.
You just said Brock needs to work his way back up every week.
Did I say a single thing about fucking fighting?
Well, how do you work your way back up?
Storytelling.
Okay, so from a storyline standpoint, Brock Lesnar gets screwed out of the world title by his manager, who goes back to Roman Reigns. Brock Lesnar is now out of the title picture at WrestleMania. So from a storyline standpoint, why would he not come into the Royal Rumble and win and be like, boom, I'm coming for you, Roman?
Why would the people in charge put him in?
Because he's Brock Lesnar. All he has to do is grab somebody and say, I'm going in.
Done.
Why is anybody in the Royal Rumble, Mike? That's your logic.
No,
why is anybody in the Royal Rumble then?
All right.
Brock Lesnar winning was great. And I love Ronda Rousey winning too.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. And I don't know why people have a problem with that.
People are idiots.
Yeah, no, Ronda winning was fine. There's rumors about her going up against Becky. I would much rather see her up against Charlotte.
I'm the opposite. Okay, so this is my question I was going to ask you. Would you rather see Charlotte, Becky, or the rematch in the triple threat?
I don't want the triple threat.
Neither do I. I want her and Becky.
Number one, we've seen it already. Number two, we've been through this. I'm not a fan of triple threats of WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I could see the Bobby Lashley defending the title in the triple threat at Mania. I think that's going to happen. I want to see Ronda and Becky. It's the match that we have been denied for years. I've seen Ronda and Charlotte. They tore the house down. It was awesome. Ronda and Charlotte would have an amazing match. I wouldn't be pissed off if they did it. But there is something magical when Ronda and Becky get together. They have this, it's like that worked shoot. You know what I mean? It's like you can tell that they kind of annoy each other in real life. And it comes across on TV. And, you know,
from a storyline standpoint, I think I have to agree with you. From an in-ring standpoint, I think I still want Charlotte.
All I'm going to say about Ronda Rousey is thank God she came out at the number 28 spot because it won me my Royal Rumble pool with Clay Wilson. So fucking $50 for me. Thank you very much.
I feel like they kind of missed an opportunity with Shayna coming out at number 30. I think they could have done something a little bit more fun with the two of them in the ring
I
together.
agree. And Ronda was like playing it up too. Like she was smiling, like hyped up. I thought that would have been great.
And then we didn't get it. Kind of like what we got with Brock and Shelton a couple years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's kind of what I wanted.
I mean, I think that if I was booking it, I would have had the final four be Ronda, Shayna, Charlotte, and Sasha. Horsewomen.
I like that. I honestly personally wish Mickie James made it to the final four.
Yeah, but like we knew that wasn't going to happen.
Just to give that tease, that idea that it could happen. You know what I mean? I'm not saying put her over. I'm saying let people believe. If you're going to go out of your way to go and push her and put her over as the Impact Champion in that match, make people believe that maybe they could do it.
I disagree. I disagree with that, and I'll tell you why. And I like that we're not on the same page at all. I'm going to kill your list this week.
We're not even close to the list yet.
I like the fact that she didn't be in the final four because she's not in the WWE. So you can't, her having Hardcore Country hit, that music hitting, coming out, her graphics at Impact Women's Champion, bringing the belt out. That's a huge rub for Impact Wrestling. It's a bigger rub than AEW ever gave them. For all those people that think that I'm an AEW fanboy, that Impact Wrestling got more out of Mickie James being in the Royal Rumble than any other Forbidden Door they've worked with so far. Yeah. That's it. You don't need to put her over your talent. She eliminated Michelle McCool, which was perfect.
I'm saying I would have liked to see it.
Yeah, from a fan standpoint, absolutely. But from a business standpoint, I think it was perfect the way it was.
Yeah. The rest of the card, I liked the Roman Seth match until the finish. I wasn't a fan of the finish.
Yeah, I get it though. I get it.
But other than the finish, I liked the match. I loved that Seth came out with the Shield entrance and the whole deal. Mm-hmm. What a great way to get some heat. Without costing Roman his heat.
Yeah.
Like this was a dangerous match, putting two heels against each other. And I find they did it so perfectly where at the end of the match, nobody came out as a face. Yeah. And I like that. I like that a lot.
But they were smart when they worked it because they let Seth work a little more as a face, which makes sense because his style is a lot more face. The Shield entrance kind of was like, yeah, we're going to cheer for this guy in this match. And then, he's dickhead Seth and he gets his heat back.
And then if you go to the other championship match, Bobby versus Brock, for a match that has been hyped up for a long time as a dream match, I think it delivered. Yeah, I liked it a lot. I really did, including the finish.
I love the finish.
I think it was perfectly done. When Roman first came out to interfere, I kind of went, "Oh, okay, here we go," kind of thing. But then when he called for the title and Heyman handed it over, right there, I'm like, "Okay, you fucking got me." All right.
I want to hear the explanation for it because, like, why would Heyman not? I guess he wasn't able to play tweener anymore. I get that, so he made his choice. Yeah, okay. I really like Paul Heyman playing the middleman, stuck in the middle. So I'm sad to see that's finally over. But
I think the only reason they ever did that switch was to get the MVP Paul Heyman promos, and that was it.
Yeah, maybe.
I think that's the only reason they did it.
I'm going to say something here,
but it's great. It keeps if they're going to go into Mania with Lesnar versus Reigns, Lesnar going in as the fucking white hot baby makes sense to me. And let's be perfectly honest, if you're going back in like years and years of tradition, that white meat baby doesn't need a manager. Most heroes didn't have a manager.
I was just going to say something too.
And what they did 99% of the times, it didn't make sense to me. For example, Hulk Hogan with Jimmy Hart never fucking made sense to me.
Because they're buddies.
Yeah. Paul Ellering with the LOD later on, like WrestleMania, not WrestleMania, sorry, SummerSlam era.
92.
Their face era, yeah. That didn't make sense to me. But when you have this guy who's just hot as fuck, like Roman Reigns, who's I like it because while he could do his own promos, he's too big. He's too fucking important. Why should he have to talk to you? This guy will do it. He doesn't have a manager. He has an advocate. I love it. It works so well. And Brock as the beast incarnate, Brock as the red hot fucking heel. Yes. Give him fucking Heyman all day long. But Brock as a white meat baby, I want to see him on his own. It's the only thing that can make him vulnerable. It's hard to make a character like Brock Lesnar vulnerable at all. So the only way to make him look vulnerable whatsoever is to take Heyman away from him.
I think that Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman have just done all they can do together. There's nothing more to do with them. And I think Brock is better off without Heyman now. This Brock Lesnar character, it just looks like he's out there having a fucking blast, man. He's got his big beard. He's got his man bun. He's got his cowboy hat on. Like, he's dancing. He's being fun Brock. Like, this is the Brock Lesnar that I want to see. I'm tired. And I'm not that these promos were ever bad, but and I said this 2 years ago, and I'll say it again. I'm bored of Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar. You know, Paul Heyman, spoiler promo, cut an amazing promo, make me want to watch the match. Brock Lesnar's stereotypical match, shoulder block, suplex, hope spot, end of the match. That was the Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman format for years and years and years. It ran its course. This Brock Lesnar is fun. It is fresh. I am ready for WrestleMania. I am ready for Roman and Brock because these guys are so different from when they've ever fought before that this is fresh and it feels like a big deal. I always say at WrestleMania, give me something that feels like a big deal. These are the two hottest acts in your company. These guys need to fight at WrestleMania.
How much did you pop when Lashley hit Lesnar with a German? And then Lesnar sat in the corner going, like, he smiled. You know, I fucking love that. It was one of my favorite parts of the match.
Those suplexes that both those guys threw, especially the first two in the match, terrified me. They dumped each other right on the back of their necks. Those guys are 300-pound boys. Thank God they didn't break their necks. Bobby Lashley, by the way, looks incredibly awkward taking German suplexes. You can tell that he was way out of his comfort zone there.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they put the strap.
He's not used to how many people can throw that bitch around?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm glad they put the belt back on Bobby Lashley too, because I think that the way that he lost the belt to Big E, he never really got his redemption for it. They kind of started putting him on the back burner again. I see more in Bobby Lashley than I do in Big E as the world champion. I'd be fine if they wanted to put Big E and Bobby Lashley together at WrestleMania.
I'm not saying you should drop the title. I'm saying that Big E should have won the Rumble and gone up against Lashley at Mania. I'm not saying E should have won.
I don't think Big E needed to win the Rumble to fight Lashley at Mania. I don't think that the Rumble match would have made Big E a bigger star. I think Big E has just hit that.
I think it would.
I don't think he's going to get bigger than where he is.
You heard the original plans with Riddle winning it.
I heard that rumor. I think that would have been a nightmare.
Yeah, I don't know where they could have went with that.
It's not time for Riddle. I think maybe next year. You want to build. Riddle's a guy that you could give that spot to. Guys like Riddle, Austin Theory are, these guys they're there. They're just not ready for main event WrestleMania yet because no one will believe that they can do it yet.
So what do we have left here? We got the women's title match that I enjoyed. I'm a big fan of Piper Niven, of Dewdrop, I guess they call it. I have been for a long time. I'm an old school ICW fan. Where she performed as Viper for years and years, and she was unstoppable.
I saw her do a dive off the top of the cage there. I saw that. That was cool.
She is phenomenal. She is everything that they wanted Nia Jax to be, but talented. She's amazing. I loved her, and I thought she had a great showing with Becky Lynch. It was a great way to showcase what she can do, and I'm glad Becky went over. Don't get me wrong. The right person went over. Piper's not ready for that yet, but it was a great way to show what she can do right now.
I didn't really pay this match and the Edge and Miz match were kind of the matches I fast forward through a little bit just because I watched it on a delay. So I didn't start the Royal Rumble till 11 o'clock and I was getting tired. I don't really care. The outcome of these matches were irrelevant because they're all going to be in different paths going to Mania. I wouldn't mind shifting gears off the Rumble for a minute, and I want to get your take on something else that I've been waiting for you for. Hammerstein Ballroom, GCW.
Yeah, you guys didn't talk about that one.
No, I said I made a ground rule that we were not going to talk about it till you came back to the show because I know that that's your baby, and we don't got to run through the whole card, but just give me your overall thoughts on it.
I personally fucking loved it, and I'm reading horrible reviews from casual and hardcore GCW fans alike. A lot of people didn't like the show in general, and I don't get it. I don't know what they wanted. What the fuck did they want if it wasn't what they got? If they wanted more hardcore shit, well, I'm sorry. It's fucking New York. You're not allowed. It is what it is.
I could see the hardcore fans being disappointed with the show.
But I don't mean hardcore and hardcore match fans. I mean
fans. I could see why they would be disappointed in the show.
But there was nothing. I've been watching GCW, like I haven't missed a GCW show pretty much in 3 years. There's nothing that didn't feel like a GCW show here, other than the production. The production was very much not GCW, and that's not a bad thing.
Not at all.
They went out of their way to make it look fantastic. I even heard people complaining about the fucking commentary. I'm sorry, Lenny Leonard and Dave Prazak wasn't fucking good enough for you. Go suck a dick. And then even the hardcore GCW fans were complaining about the fucking main event.
I get that. Like, that's disappointing, but that was just poor timing, right? It was 6 minutes.
Oh yes, that part they ran out of time. Again, this happens, but
that's why they're upset.
People are upset that it was Nick Gage.
Well, that's stupid.
What the fuck were they expecting? If he wasn't on the card, you didn't think he was going to be there? Come on now. I loved everything about it. Yes, could the main event been a little longer? Sure, absolutely. Everything else about it, there's a few little booking things here and there that I probably would have changed.
I think that's the big takeaway from all the hardcore fans is that no GCW talent except for Gage went over in the big matches.
I'm willing to give this some time. I'm willing to give this some. Where are they going to go? What are they planning something with this? Effie's not done with Jarrett yet, so I'm okay with Jarrett winning the first match. Putting Cardona over was the right move.
Yeah, well, he's a GCW guy now, though.
Exactly. So, like, I didn't have a problem with these. Even though she's the bigger name, I would have had Ruby Soho lose to Alley Catch. That's I do agree with that, but I'm also not mad about it. It was a phenomenal match. It was one of my favorite matches on the card, to be honest. I fucking loved it. The Cardona match was the Cardona Janela match was fun.
Yes,
it was stupid.
I think it went too long.
It was fucking ridiculous. It is the reason we lost the main event.
Yeah, that match it was fun, but it dragged. There was some points in that match where it was like, okay,
they could have, I mean, they could have not brought fucking Virgil in, but it was fun for what it was. It was a lot of fun. Man, X-Pac hasn't aged in 20 years.
He looks smooth.
He looks phenomenal. A lot of not rumors. They stopped being rumors. It's happening now. It's going to be Janela and X-Pac versus Cardona
and Myers.
And Myers, thank you. Yeah, at their Valentine's Day show. So that's awesome.
Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm a GCW fan. If I didn't like the show, I would be telling you I liked the show. I liked everything about it. I was excited going in. I was excited leaving. The ending to it, I texted you when it was done saying this is one of my favorite moments of my fandom because it was such a feel-good fucking moment when Gage was standing there with the championships. Not to mention, I just saw Nick Gage, one of my favorite modern stars right now, against my favorite tag team possibly of all time. As a fan, how could I not have been happy?
Yeah.
And the return of Matt Tremont to GCW was a cool fucking addition.
Yeah, great song with Journey. I like that. For me, I guess I'm kind of like the target audience that GCW was going for on this show.
You were the kind of guy they wanted in for this. Yes.
They didn't disappoint me, but they didn't do enough to make me be like, I need to see the next show either.
Okay.
To me, it was just a solid show. There was nothing bad on the show. I have no complaints about the show at all. I thought from an in-ring standpoint, I still need to watch the trios match, and I know that match was apparently a show stealer.
Yeah,
so I think that's the only match I have left to watch.
Did you watch Mox and Homicide?
Most of it, yeah.
It wasn't the greatest match you've ever seen by any means.
It was what it needed to be.
But Mox looks great.
Yeah, Mox looks great. He's in great shape. I'm happy to see him back, despite what Bully Ray thinks about owing people an apology. That's a different conversation.
When he came out and fucking people start that "fuck Bully Ray" chant, that was amazing.
Yeah, I just think it was okay. I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't think it was a terrible show. I thought from in-ring it was solid, but they didn't for all the hype that was around that show and to try to draw people into the next show. I just feel like there might have been something missing, and I don't know what it is. And I'm not saying that in like a negative way where it's like, oh, the show was I was happy with the show, but like there was no like big angle maybe like that. You know what I mean?
Another match you should check out, by the way. Go back and watch the pre-show. There was a battle royal.
I watched the battle royal. Lufisto, let's go.
So before we go into the list, let's go back a day. It's the Indie Wrestling Hall of Fame. Did you watch any of it?
I watched Lufisto's speech, which I thought was very good.
Lufisto's induction in whole, I consider to be one of the best inductions in any sport I've ever seen in my life. From the badass music video they made for her, to Lenny's beautiful speech, to her tear-inducing, amazingly emotional acceptance speach.
I thought her speech was powerful.
It was so powerful. I loved every bit of it.
And I also thought that that it was very genuine. She came across as real, genuine, passionate. She used the stage also to send a message out, not just to like bask in the glory, but to, put her struggles out there and to say we're not done, equality, like all this stuff. I just thought that it was a home run all the way through.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I couldn't want anything more from what we got there. She was just phenomenal. I can't wait to eventually we will have her on the show. We've been working on this for a while. She's such a busy woman that it's always very difficult. One day we will get her on and have her talk about this because it was the highlight of that night for me personally.
Absolutely. So right. we got a couple. No, I got nothing else I want to talk about except for what we're going to be doing starting next week. We're going to kind of do, we always do our hypothetical conversations, which are a lot of fun, but we're going to switch it up a little bit.
Well, starting today, now that the Royal Rumble is behind us, we're officially on the road to WrestleMania, which is why we're going to start off today with the top 7 Road to WrestleManias.
We're starting next week, right?
Well, yes, but hold on. Today, my list is the top 7 Road to WrestleManias.
I thought we were talking about our special thing.
The top 7 builds.
Yes.
So today starts the Road to WrestleMania.
I got scared. I was like, oh my God, I'm not prepared.
So starting next week, each hypothetical, we knew we had to break down the Rumble today, so we weren't going to do it today. But starting next week, Tyler and I have devised a top 7 of our own together. We actually agreed on something.
Kind of. We're still bickering on a couple.
We together have devised a list of the top 7 WrestleManias of all time. And we are going to unveil that list 1 week at a time for 7 straight weeks. Starting next week with number 7, and then we're going to break down that why we think it's one of the best WrestleManias of all time. And we're going to do it for 7 straight weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. We're going to have some guests along the way for WrestleMania build. We got a lot of fun stuff planned. Our 100th episode is coming up. Our 2-year anniversary is coming up. So a lot of fun stuff coming up in the world of Count It Out. By the way, make sure that you're liking and subscribing to everything. That would be a big help. Maybe leave a comment somewhere like on Apple Podcasts. That really helps us out a lot. Any support is always greatly appreciated. And everything is at www.countout7.com.
And another thing, I finally get to say this on the show. I've been keeping this quiet, just like the football thing. I've been keeping football wasn't my only secret I've been keeping on this show, but I can finally say this on the show because I made it official yesterday. I'm having a baby fucking girl. Woo!
It's gonna be named baby Joelina Burrow Walsh. Well, congratulations, buddy. Your poor wife had to suffer through the seconds it made to conceive that child, but it's all worth it in the end. Man,
she was sleeping. She didn't feel anything.
She was sleeping. God damn it. This is why. This is. I'm excited for you, though, man. Uncle Skinny 2.0 over here. Uncle Tyler. We just got to teach the kids to count to 7 real quick.
There you go. All right. What do you say, man? Are you ready to argue?
I'm ready to argue, and maybe we can do some arguing also at Barrie Wrestling on March 5th. Just wanted to throw one more plug out there.
Absolutely. We're finally doing it's the same show was supposed to happen back in January. Our rightful place. Mostly the same card, some changes here and there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Sweet. And I'm looking forward to your list, man. So this is your top seven road to WrestleMania storyline. So this is not just main events. This is of any WrestleMania match.
Yes.
You're a crazy man for this.
Any story going into WrestleMania that grabbed me, that made me really want to watch that WrestleMania, it's on this list. Here's the thing. It's about the build and the build alone. If the build was great and the match sucked, doesn't matter. It's on the list. If the match was awesome but the build sucked, not on the list.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
These are top 7 builds, folks. Nothing to do with the matches.
And I'm going to catch so much heat from you, from the listeners, from everybody, and I can't wait to start this because we're going to start with heat right away. I don't think I'm catching heat from you on this one, but I'm definitely catching heat from a lot of fucking listeners.
I'm hoping that your number 7 involves the number 7.
It doesn't. No.
Right. No.
My number 7. Let's just put this out there. Steve Austin and The Rock have fought at WrestleMania 3 times. Only one time have they made this top 7 list. And it's not the one people think. We're going to WrestleMania 19 for my number 7.
I agree with this. I would have actually maybe fought for 15.
Number 15 was my number 8. I was fighting back and forth between 15 and 19 for this spot. I know there's so many people screaming at their speakers right now going 17. Sorry guys, listen, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. The build to 17 has been romanticized because of that fucking music video. That song. Music video is one of the greatest music videos, if not the greatest music video package in WrestleMania history. But once you break down what's in the music video, other than the music video, there's nothing great. I don't give a fuck about Deborah being fucking Rock's manager. It
made no sense.
It wasn't a great story. It just wasn't. And then I rewatched that match recently. I hated it.
I'm not a big fan of the WrestleMania 17 match either, man.
I hate it so much. So WrestleMania 17's out. We're going to WrestleMania 19. Don't get me wrong. I love WrestleMania 15's build. I do. This just did a little bit more for me because Austin was gone for a while. Austin did his whole, temper tantrum, left the company, after the Brock Lesnar thing. He comes back, goes on an ass-kicking a rampage. Then The Rock hadn't been there all the time either. The Rock was fucking making movies and shit.
Hollywood Rock, baby.
Then The Rock comes back, and he's Hollywood Rock. He's got the vest and the belt buckle and the attitude. He's still not a bad guy by any means, but he's got that attitude, right? And he just keeps telling Austin, he's like, "This is the one thing I haven't done. The one thing I haven't done. Twice you beat me at WrestleMania. I got to get that back." And Austin's going, "Yeah, I didn't just beat you once. I beat you fucking twice." And every week they just come and they fucking one up each other. Austin will come out and throw a fucking rock bottom on. Fucking Rock comes out and hits a fucking stunner on. each week they were doing these things, and fucking one week it was I fucking loved it. The 1 week where Rock gets right in his face, throwing the fucking middle fingers up. They were at each other every fucking week, and the story, I found it more personal this time. It was more in depth. It was more. Both men needed this badly. Rock because he's never beaten Austin at the big stage, and Austin because even though we didn't really know it at the time, Austin was on his way out, and he couldn't leave without beating the Rock one more time. And it was just a phenomenally told story right up until the match, and the match is their best of the three.
You missed two parts of this build that I thought were really, really good. The involvement of Hurricane Helms was fantastic.
I forgot about that, to be perfectly honest. Yeah.
And the Rock concert.
The
Rock concert was amazing.
Great. Yes.
When the Lakers beat them in May.
Like,
yeah, that one sucked.
This time it was great. Yes. Phenomenal.
Yeah, I thought that was great. They did that great angle with where the Hurricane came out of the back of the truck of Austin's truck or something like that. The Rock concert was fantastic. The Hurricane stuff was fun. This build started the night after No Way Out. Rock was full on heel, by the way. He had turned heel in his Hogan match.
You're right. He was.
I was at the Monday Night Raw in Toronto where he healed the hell out of the crowd. No. You were the first one to boo the Rock. You don't get to sing along with the Rock, you bunch of mother Canuckers. Great stuff by the Rock. Hollywood Rock is my favorite Rock. I will fight anybody that has a problem with that, and I will probably lose that fight because I'm not very strong, but I'm still right. Great build. I don't have a problem with this one. I might argue 15 because the beard truck was great. Kind of started back at Royal Rumble where Rock cost Austin the Rumble. McMahon won going into that cage match.
I watched both of these builds lately, and I just, for some reason, while I think you're right, I think the 15 build was more fun. I somehow found myself more invested in the second run, and maybe that's because I'm older. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe that's because maybe the 15 run was fun when I was a teenager. The 19 run, correct me if you think I'm wrong here, but there's more of a maturity to it.
Yeah. There is. You know what I mean? I just, the world was on fire during that time, and I just remember the build for the hype for that first match at 15 was off the chart, and it peaked perfectly. Yeah. So, okay, good start. What do you got next? What's number 6?
My number 6, again, I might catch some heat, not for being on the list, but for where it is on the list. Hopefully, I can justify it with everything else on my list because it is a phenomenal build, and it leads to one of the greatest matches in history. But we're going to WrestleMania 10 with Owen versus Brett.
Yeah, this is. I would have had this probably in my top 3 or 4. I think.
I know.
But it's got to be on the list.
Why it's not up there, but it's so we're going all the way back to Survivor Series of '93, right? And with Owen being the only member of the Hart Foundation team of the Hart family to not survive Survivor Series. And that's kind of where the seeds get planted. Baby brother couldn't pull through, and everybody else gets their way. What I love about this build is it wasn't supposed to happen. Brett had to fight for this. It was supposed to be Bruce.
Yeah.
And Brett fought for Owen. So Brett said, "I'm not doing this unless we do it with Owen." And Vince didn't see it in Owen. Vince said, "It's got to be Bruce. There's not going to be a draw with Owen." Thank God Brett went out and really went on the line for Owen here. Because some Owens, you can make fun of the "I kick your leg out of your leg" thing all you want, but the rest of his promo work in this time was fucking phenomenal.
Do you want to know what the best promo is in the build-up for this? I'm really familiar with this right now because this is going to be on an episode of Classic Match Classroom in WrestleMania season, probably about 4 or 5 weeks. They do the promo shortly after Survivor Series, and it's at Christmas time. And it's Brett and Owen together, and it's like they squash their beef, And Brett's like, we couldn't put mom and dad through that. And at the Royal Rumble, we're going to fight the Quebecers. And Owen's like, that's right. as the leader of this team, and Owen's always making these little comments like, I could have beat you up, but I don't want mom to see me beat you up, Brett, and stuff like that. Just like annoying little bastard brother, you know what I mean? And you can just see Brett looking at him like, you're such an annoying prick. Like, I really like that promo.
Yeah, and it just built every week with baby brother just, always feeling in the shadow, and Brett's still doing his hero thing, right? And I don't want to fight you. I don't want to fight you. I will never fight my brother. And of course, it finally, comes to fruition. Okay, I don't have a choice. I'm going to fight my fucking brother. And I think that's why it's at my number 6, because it's not like, it wasn't this like a WrestleMania or 15 Austin and Rock. There wasn't beer trucks and crazy shit happening every week.
And at the time, the product was so different, right?
Exactly. There wasn't like a weekly fucking thing going on every Monday night. They weren't able to do this shit. So you had to kind of wait. You kind of had to really pay attention. But for what it was and what they had to work with, they did a phenomenal job.
Absolutely. And of course, one of the greatest matches of all time. Not that it has anything to do with your list. I just wanted to put that out there for anyone who has not watched this match.
The best WrestleMania opener ever?
It's tough to argue, man. Bryan and Triple H is up there, but I think this is one of the best wrestling pay-per-view openers of all time.
Yeah, for sure. Going on to number 5, and I'm going to be perfectly honest. My 5 and 6 could probably switch. It doesn't matter either or. They're probably pretty much tied. But my number 5, again, I might catch some heat for having it on the list, but I love it. I think it's so well done. When I compared it to other people's lists, professionals doing their list, this was not on any lists at all. And I don't know why, because I think it's such a well done story. We're going to WrestleMania 21 with Triple H versus Batista.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's your number 5. I could have saw this being number 4, number 3, number 2. Like,
it was originally my number 3. I watched what I did today. I watched every single Raw from Royal Rumble until WrestleMania. Maybe if No Way Out was No Way Out. If No Way Out was a Raw pay-per-view, maybe, so they did something there, maybe it would have elevated something. But I just don't think after the table
it
spot,
peaked there, right?
It didn't peak. There was cool stuff like they did. It just wasn't. They didn't elevate it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. There was cool stuff they did after that. They did the there was a Pick Your Poison thing that Triple H went out and had a phenomenal match on Raw against Chris Benoit because he was handpicked by Batista, and then Batista fought Snitsky. You know what I mean? And then Batista had to fight Kane in a lumberjack match, and Batista fought Ric Flair one week, where Triple H tried to get involved, and there was a great closing moment to Raw where Triple H tried to hit Batista with the sledgehammer and got stopped. And Batista stared at me in the face and snapped the sledgehammer over his knee. These spots made this build. They were great. But if you really, if I didn't rewatch all this shit, I wouldn't remember half of this.
I don't remember it, yeah.
What I do remember is, the years and years before Royal Rumble of that year, I remember Randy Orton up on Batista's shoulders and the thumb, you know what I mean? That was 2 years prior. Then we go over here, 2 years later, we got this thing happening again. And this time, Batista basically says, and it didn't happen right away. It didn't happen the night after WrestleMania.
No, that was the summer before this Mania. It wasn't 2 years before.
It was 2003. Okay, yeah. Sorry. But the Royal Rumble, it happens. He wins the Royal Rumble, and it's not like he turns on Triple H the very next night.
Mm-hmm.
It takes weeks. First it's an apparent try by Teddy Long to get him over at SmackDown, and Bischoff's all pissed about it, and then Triple H starts getting in his head, well, maybe he should go to SmackDown.
That's the part I like. Triple H and Flair were like, we don't want to fight this guy. We got to get him to go to SmackDown. We got to take over wrestling, go to SmackDown. But
and then Batista overhears them talking in the locker room that one week, where he's like, Dave Goss has to do what's best for us. And, it's so good. And then, of course, the famous moment where he does the thumbs down, puts him to the table. Phenomenal.
This goes back even further than that, though, Mike. And to me, this is one of the greatest slow burning turns and angles of all time, because they would just do these little things, or Triple H should be cutting a promo and Batista would just be staring at the belt. And then, you know what I mean? And then Triple H would look, and
I can't remember what the match was, but Batista held Triple H's hand up after one match.
We just stare at the belt. Yeah.
The belt is in both their hands. And he looks up and he stares at it. And then Triple H caught him staring at it. The look of fear on Triple H's face.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck what anybody wants to say about Triple H. Sometimes when he was on, he was fucking on.
Mm-hmm.
This storyline,
he was on.
Sold.
Yeah.
He sold it that, for a guy who nobody could beat Triple H for fucking 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
He sold it that Batista was a threat.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was afraid of Batista. I love that.
Absolutely, he was. I'm hard on Triple H because I think that there's a lot of stuff that Triple H has done that doesn't age well, and I don't think that he's the GOAT, the greatest of all time. I think he's very good. You know what I mean? But I think he's got a lot of shit that doesn't hold up. This feud is not one of them. Everything he did here, he made Batista into a face of the company, and that is impressive. Batista and John Cena were the faces of the WWE after WrestleMania 21. And that is 1,000% because of Triple H.
I couldn't agree more.
With Batista, at least. Cena did his own thing, but that's different. But yeah, I love this. And if you really want to see how over Batista was at this time, watch that Elimination Chamber match, New Year's Resolution.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, absolutely.
The greatest Elimination Chamber match of all time.
I'm not sure I can argue that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I am partial to the first one, but moving to my number 4. This is going to come up at least twice in my list, and this is when something happens purely organically. Like sometimes the best stuff happens when the company doesn't force it.
Triple H and Batista.
Exactly. This one, my number 4. I think the company's at a state now where they're starting to get hotter. And after a few years of being in the shits, they're about to lose one of their biggest names, but they're also building a big name. But they have to do it right. They have to do it properly. And God damn did they hit the button in 1998 with WrestleMania 14. We're looking at Shawn Michaels and Steve Austin going into WrestleMania 14.
Okay.
The Mike Tyson thing alone.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
The Austin McMahon, because it doesn't have to just be Shawn Michaels and Steve Austin here. We're talking about the entire build. So we're talking about the entire story between Vince McMahon not wanting Steve Austin to be his champion.
So you're starting in January then, right? Because that's when Vince cut that promo. Do I want him to be the champion? It's not just a no, it's a hell no. Yeah. Okay. And then Tyson, that's one of the greatest moments in Monday Night Raw history. Maybe the greatest moment in Monday Night Raw history.
Exactly.
The build hurts because Shawn gets hurt, which is too bad.
Of course. Which is why it's not in my top 3. And it probably would be if Shawn was able to contribute more to this build.
I just remember the spot they did with Austin tied in the ropes and they kissed his head. Tyson's heel turn with DX.
That was the night he got hit with it in the face of the battery.
They did it twice. They did it on Raw one time, and then they did it in Boston outside, and that's when he got hit with the battery. Jason Sensation actually tells a great story about that on his podcast that he has. I don't think he's doing it anymore, but great podcast he does.
So you don't seem sold this should be in my number 4 spot, though.
I had to think about it again for a minute. The inclusion of Tyson and going back to Vince, Austin winning the Royal Rumble, the great match at No Way Out, that 8-man tag was really good. Maybe they should have put Savio Vega in the main event of WrestleMania. Shawn was hurt, but who knows, right? Yeah, you know what? I can't argue this. I think this is good. I think this is perfect here. If Shawn wasn't hurt, I think it could have had a run for number 1.
Yeah. If Shawn was able to put in what he put into another match we could be talking about, then this probably would be my number one, because Austin put everything he could into it.
Yeah.
Vince put everything he could. This was Vince at peak fucking Vince.
Yeah, well,
You know what I mean?
The company took off after this too, right?
Exactly. This is where the Mr. McMahon character really starts being born in. It's amazing. This brings us into our top three, man, and we're going back to Shawn Michaels, and this is where Shawn Michaels can put his all into a build. We're going to WrestleMania 26. This is Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker.
This, I think I had this as my number one.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I like that.
This is a great build. You're gonna have to sell me to make this not your number one.
I could easily switch this with my number two, to be perfect. My 2 and 3 are interchangeable. Wouldn't take my number one. I'm going to justify, and you and I are going to come to blows over my number one, and that's fine. I'm going to justify my number ones to my death. But I would easily concede to Taker and HBK being number two. I really would. I just have a soft spot for number two. That's all, to be honest. But Taker, HBK, man, say what you want about the match. The match was great, but it wasn't as good as 25.
25 is the greatest wrestling match maybe of all time.
While the 25 build was okay, the 26 build was damn near perfect.
Yeah. This is like Shawn Michaels should win an Emmy Award for his performance. Yeah. He was so good. You know, going all the way back to challenging him and Taker saying no. Okay, well, I'm going to win the Royal Rumble then you're going to have to fight me because you're the champion. And his facial expression when Batista knocked him out of the Rumble, my God, Shawn Michaels, take my heart right out of my chest, man.
And then bring it to the Elimination Chamber, and he does what he has to do.
So
you know, and then you add in the little caveat of Triple H saying you can't do it. You know, I love it. I love it. Which they kind of replayed again later with Triple H's build, right? Yeah. But it was a phenomenally done build. I was so invested. I was way more invested going into 26 than I was 25. And not to take anything away from 25, but this build, it was desperation. It was Shawn Michaels at his best, acting wise, and not to take anything away from his in-ring. Even in his very last match, he was still better in the ring than 90% of the people in the fucking roster.
Yeah, Shawn could have easily fought for a couple more years if he wanted to.
I think he wanted to go in on his own terms.
100%.
Because he didn't get to the first time.
Well, and you know what a big part of it was his WrestleMania 25 match with The Undertaker. Yeah. After that match, I've heard him do interviews where he said, I don't think that you can have a better match than that. There's nothing left for me to do.
Yeah. Unless, maybe DX versus the Brothers of Destruction.
Should have been a hair versus hair match.
Jesus. I don't know what else we can say about this. Like I said, the story, the desperation, the Undertaker saying no. Yeah. We've done this already.
Yeah.
We don't have to do this again. No.
And I like that too, because that's so uncharacteristic of the Undertaker to say no.
Yes, very, very much so. And then it almost became he was saying no because he felt bad for him. It's like no, dude, stop doing this to yourself. Mm-hmm. And then when Shawn fucks him over, finally it's like, fine, you wanted my attention, got my attention, but now you're gonna fucking pay for it. You want to fight me? It's my streak versus your career.
Yeah, I like that they took.
And for the first time ever, I think the crowd was finally divided on whether or not the Taker was going to lose or not.
I like that the belt wasn't on the line here because by Shawn costing Taker the belt, he showed that this match means more to me than a title. This is so personal. This is so personal that the only way I can get you to fight me is to make you lose the title.
Yeah.
I like that. I think that's such a strong twist. And the fact that he helped Jericho win it, who's like one of his biggest rivals the last year before that. Like, that he didn't want to do that, but he's like, this is bigger than this.
Yeah, 100%. And again, just like Owen and Brett, and just like Austin and Rock, this match felt personal.
Yep.
Very personal. Just like my number 2, very personal.
I need to know. I'm getting anxious because I haven't heard one of my top 3s.
My number 2, technically, if you really want to split hairs, was a 17-month build. And this match came to fruition at WrestleMania 5 when the Mega Powers exploded.
It's great. I just did this. We did this on Classic Match Classroom. We went over the whole build from start to finish.
Like I said, if you want to switch this for Taker with Taker and Michaels, I wouldn't argue. But I have a soft spot for this because...
You have a soft spot for it because you got lust in your eyes, Mike. Ooh, you got lust in your eyes for your number 2. Yeah, Hulk Hogan.
I fucking love you so
Hulk
much.
Hogan looking at Elizabeth.
What did Jesse keep calling him? Lust Hogan?
Oh, Lust Hogan.
Lust
He makes
Hogan.
me sick, Gorilla. Look at him breaking the eyes.
Man, it was... So let's go all the way to the beginning, man. Like, this match goes all the way back to fucking just after his Andre losing the title, or Andre winning the title, I should say, and then and selling it to DiBiase, the whole deal. You can trace this story all the way back there, because that's where Hogan's getting in trouble with Andre. Then that's where the Mega Powers really form.
Yeah, they formed on Saturday Night's Main Event when Liz brought him out to save Savage from Honky Tonk and the Hart Foundation. That great angle where Honky pushed Elizabeth down, and then Hogan comes out and he's doing the cheek thing. This looks like a fucking psycho. He's like, "Whoa, I gotta save the Macho Man!" Like, I thought that was good. Then the promo that they cut after that, though, when he's like, "I don't even know what this is." Ooh, yeah, gonna get the Mega Powers. That was for Anthony.
They were that tag team that. Oh man, should they have been? Could they have been? But they were, and then it worked. It worked so well, and they were the 2 hottest, craziest wrestlers in the fucking world at the time, and it was great. It was great, and you knew that if something happened, if they did implode, if they did, go against each other, what would happen, and how would that happen? And it was great. And of course, it was Elizabeth. It was the best way to tell that story. The jealous husband. Every time Liz, I don't see this working with anybody but Miss Elizabeth, because Miss Elizabeth was not a Trish Stratus. She was not a Lita. She was the most pure thing in the world. She was innocence encapsulated. Like, there was nothing evil about Elizabeth at all. At all. You could not believe that Liz would ever do anything bad. Ever. So when Liz comes out to be Hogan's friend and to help Hogan, you believed that. You could believe. Now, could I believe that Hogan wanted to rail her? Of course
Listen,
I could.
there were some parts in that build where I said this on Classroom to Anthony too, and I'm glad we're having this conversation. There's some parts of this where I looked over and I'm like, bro, if I'm Macho Man right now, I'm thinking, okay, like, you're getting fucking pretty handsy with my wife there. You know what I mean? Like,
so
you gotta.
But on the other hand, you as a fan, you trust Liz. You don't have to trust Hogan, but you trust Liz. You know Liz would never cheat on Randy.
But you want to talk about like the greatest slow builds in the history of wrestling. And the greatest example for it is that Survivor Series, is when, after Savage gets uncuffed and they end up winning the match or whatever, Hogan's just hyped up and he just picks up Elizabeth, hugs her and spins her around. And Savage is just giving him this look like, motherfucker, I'm going to kill you. And everyone's just happy and Liz is clapping. And it was so innocent. It was a hug. You know what I mean? Like, I've freaking hugged people a million times in my life. Like, it's just, hyped up, like, whatever. There was no sexuality. There was no flirtation. It was like, we won. I'm happy. Here's a hug. And he would have hugged Macho Man if he wasn't broken ribs. And Savage is like, oh, you're dead.
Yeah. And that was way before. Like you said, slow burn, and that's, we've discussed this too many times. I feel like old man yelling at the cloud at this point, where I'm like, I miss these slow builds.
Yeah.
like the Owen Brett thing, like months and months of work to get there. Where this was fucking over a year to get here. It was great. And then you finally get there, and then week after week, it's him going, "What are you doing?" It's like, "Who's this guy?" "Yeah, I see you, Hogan. I see your eyes. I see you busting your eyes." Every fucking, well, not week, but every show.
Yeah.
You would see him. You know, he would keep going, and then finally, it's like he pushes Liz away. You know what I mean? And then Liz played her part perfectly. Every time we talk to her, well, I'm going to play both sides. I'm going to be there, but I'm going to be neutral. I'm going to be on both their sides. And then the real MVP here is Gorilla and Jesse. They built this up so well.
Yeah, Mean Gene also was really good during this build.
Oh, yeah.
He was really good too. And again, if you guys want to see that entire build, go over to the Classic Match Classroom. That is at CM Classroom, not to be confused with CM Punk, just because I love when Anthony says that so much. That was a good build.
All right, man. Are you ready?
Yeah, I don't know what you have as your number one, but I know I hate it already.
I'll do my best to justify it because I do think it's the best build for a WrestleMania match. And we're going to go back to what I said about Austin HBK, how some things are just organic, some things just happen. And this match probably wasn't supposed to happen. Or not match, this build wasn't supposed to happen. This happened because just all the right pieces came together and the world said, this is going to happen. And we're talking about Daniel Bryan versus the world. This is WrestleMania 30.
This is not a number one.
Yes, it is.
This is on your list. I agree with it. It's on my list as well. This is not the number one.
It is my number one. It's my list, so it is number one. You break down everything about this man, and don't get me wrong. I'm as surprised it's number one for me as you are. I mean, not a huge Daniel Bryan fan myself, but this everything to do with this going back as far as when he got screwed over for the title by Triple H against
SummerSlam, right?
Orton, and then you start there, and then yes, it kind of fell off a bit because he did the thing with the Wyatts and stuff like that, and then when he comes back and he's not in the Royal Rumble, and as soon as he's not in the Royal Rumble, that's when things really started heating up, and the fans said, "Fuck you." We've had enough of this shit. And as much as you want to say WWE doesn't listen to their fans, they started listening that day. And what we got for the next several weeks was fucking magic. And they told several stories to get into two major matches on the same pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. And it everything just was perfect. Everything was perfect about it.
It's a great number 5. I think a great number 5. Here's the thing. This match wasn't a build though. Like you said, this was Batista's build. And the fans made it Daniel Bryan's build. It was supposed to be
but if you like I said, you go back to SummerSlam.
Like
it really was.
And if CM Punk doesn't walk out of the company here too.
The weekly stuff you get, number one, I gotta say that this is the best work Triple H and Stephanie did with this authority stuff ever, going all the way back to fucking 2000, whatever. All the stuff they try to get over so many times, it finally worked here. This is heel Stephanie at peak heel Stephanie. The B+ player stuff, the handcuff stuff.
Where Triple H beat him up was strong, and the movement where they took over the ring was strong. I just think there's better. I think there's better builds in this one. I think Mania 26 was better. I think Shawn's storytelling was better. This one was the fans organically making something happen. Yes. But I just like the actual build.
It made you want to watch it the next week, though.
But the build to their Mania didn't start, though. Like it started 3 weeks out when Bryan got put into this situation. You know what I mean? Like I think you're talking about the build of Daniel Bryan to WrestleMania, but this wasn't a WrestleMania build. He did that feud with Randy Orton, which ended when Shawn Michaels super kicked him at Hell in a Cell. He had a feud with and then the Big Show got put into the world title picture, and then Bryan got cast away. Then he did a feud with Bray Wyatt, and then he was supposed to do a feud with Sheamus going into Mania, but CM Punk walked out. So then they're like, I guess we'll put you with Triple H. So like the build really only started. Like you can trace it back to that pedigree, but they didn't really do much to follow up on it. Like even after that pedigree, they did a segment where I'll never forget it was the Randy Orton, John Cena title for title unification match that they were doing. And that's when the crowd hijacked the segment and chanted Daniel Bryan. But like Daniel Bryan standing in the ring with the guys that screwed him for the title, and he was just in the background. And the crowd made him that. The crowd organically got behind Daniel Bryan. But as far as a WrestleMania storyline, I can't put it as the number one.
Maybe it didn't get written the way you wanted, but it turned out.
The matches were fantastic. The moment was amazing. But to me, this was a 3-week build.
I don't know. I think if you put everything together, it works.
It does work. I get it. But like the story, I just don't think the story goes the way that you think it does. Like, I don't see the story the same way. Like, yeah, I saw Triple H screw him at SummerSlam, and then they ignored it until April.
Call it a slow build.
Yeah, call it a oh shit, CM Punk walked out build. You missed one, man. You missed a big one. You got You got one big fuck up that I think needed to be on there 1,000,000%. I like 90% of your list. I'm really disappointed because you were hyping it up that I was going to hate your list, and I don't hate your list. I don't agree with your number one placement. I think it should be on your list though. The big one you missed for me, man, and I'm going to WrestleMania 21, Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle.
Okay, I can't say. All I remember about that build, to be perfectly honest, is the stuff with when they brought Marty. I don't remember a whole lot of.
So it started at the Royal Rumble. Shawn eliminated Kurt at the Royal Rumble, and then Kurt got pissed and eliminated Shawn after. And then they were kind of calling each other out, but nothing came of it. And then Shawn and Edge had this amazing street fight on Raw. Shawn was a bloody mess. Kurt jumped him from behind, beat the fuck out of him. And then it was like, anything you can do, I can do better. And, you know, he did Sexy Kurt with Sherry. They did the stuff with Marty Jannetty. It was just such a personal build. Like the Kurt Angle was fantastic in this build. This one to me is it's a can't miss. It needs to go on.
Well, maybe that was an oversight.
I'm just trying to think if there's anything else on it. Yeah, I just think it was great. Kurt Angle's promo work was strong.
I've got one I know you're not going to agree with. My first honorable mention. I fought so hard, like it almost came on, and it didn't make it on. And I know you're not going to agree with me. That's fine, but for me, it's Triple H and Randy Orton.
Yeah, I thought this one died. I thought they killed this one after Stephanie got laid out. I thought Orton was hot, and then Shane McMahon came back and killed him too. I'm
going to be honest with you. The only thing that kept this from being on my list was the fact that I never found Legacy to be a threat at any time.
Yeah.
Each week they were getting their ass kicked. You know, so that kind of hurt it for me.
I'm not gonna lie, when I'm looking at the list that I kind of put together, and I just like put a star beside 6 builds. You had all 6 of mine on the list. Like I'm with you on 6 of them. I got a fun.
Which one did I put on that you wouldn't have put on your list at all?
Your 7 was
Austin Rock 19.
Probably that one. Yeah, because I didn't have Austin and Michaels at first, but then I remember. Then you remind me of the Tyson stuff that went with that, and that has to be on there now.
Yeah,
I have a fun one that I actually kind of thought you were going to consider for your number 7 is the blindfold match on WrestleMania 7.
I mean, it's definitely on my honorable mentions, and yeah, I just couldn't make my list. I really considered doing a 3-week build to this, doing a 21 list, and that would have been on my like number 9 or 10 for sure. But yeah, it just couldn't make my top 7. It's definitely on my honorable mentions, though. I love that build. If you want to talk about Jake, I have Jake and Taker on my list too.
Yeah, great build. Savage and Flair from the same Mania.
Exactly.
I really like the build for Shawn and Brett from WrestleMania 12.
Really?
I did. I liked what they tried to do. I liked that they kept them apart. They did the great promo with Piper, and then it was like Bret Hart training in Calgary in the dungeon. Shawn. I like how they like made it go back to my roots because I'm fighting the best wrestler I've ever fought. Now, I thought they made Bret look stupid jogging in the snow, but
I thought they made Bret look really weak in it.
I thought they made him look stupid jogging in the snow. But I like the story that they were telling of I need to go back to my roots because I'm fighting the best person that I've ever fought. I like that.
If I'm going to my childhood, one of my favorite stories as a kid, and you'll laugh, I don't give a fuck. It's Sid and Hogan from 8.
Yeah, I know. I know.
I love that story. Taker versus Edge is a high honorable mention for me.
I would have put Taker and Kane, maybe WrestleMania 20.
Yeah.
I like that one. And this one I wouldn't have made my list, but I just think it deserves a shout out for a great build. WrestleMania 14, Terry Funk and Mick Foley against the New Age Outlaws.
Okay.
The dumpster stuff, the ride off the dumpster. I thought that was good.
Yeah. I got Andre and Hogan.
Yeah. Piper Adonis, Savage Steamboat.
Piper Adonis. I've got Hogan Warrior.
Yeah.
Savage Warrior.
Yeah.
Shawn Razor, just because of the who's the real champion stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Would have never made the list, but
just for one segment, Jericho William Regal when Jericho peed in his teeth. Number 2.
Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, great one. Another one I really think that could have made the list, and I would have really thought about it, would be Flair and Michaels.
I want to put you on a show with Adam and Danny.
Old Yeller! What a promo.
I love it. I love the build. Adam despises it. Adam thinks it's a horrible build.
Well, Adam's he's almost perfect then. He can't quite be perfect.
I've got Jericho and Owens. I thought it was a really fun build.
Yeah, I like that one. Jericho and Michaels as well. 19.
Yeah. Jericho Michaels, of course. Yeah. I mean, that's one of my all-time favorite WrestleMania matches in general.
Yeah. I liked Edge and Randy Orton as well. I hated the match, but the build with Orton laying out Beth Phoenix and
that's the thing with Orton.
I'm doing this for your own good.
That's Orton and Triple H at 25 too. I love the build. Match did nothing for me.
Yeah, but I just like that Orton was like, I'm your friend. I'm breaking your neck again for your own good. You need to be able to play with your children. Don't come back to the ring. Do
you want to know something funny though? We've proven something with this list. And I'll tell you right now, great build doesn't always mean great match.
No, it doesn't.
Because if I was doing top 7 favorite WrestleMania matches, we didn't talk about 90% of them. A lot of your matches didn't have big stories. Roddy and Brett. What was there wasn't much of a build, but it's one of my favorite Mania matches in history.
Yeah.
I
mean, most of your matches that you had on, maybe with like Triple H and Batista was whatever, and the WrestleMania 14 because Shawn was hurt.
I thought it was a good match.
It was okay.
Austin and Shawn was great for what it
could be.
Was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Taker and Michaels was great, except it was following the second greatest WrestleMania match in history, as far as I'm concerned.
Huh.
Owen and Brett. There's Owen and Brett.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan versus Evolution.
I like both those matches.
Is 2 of the best matches. Like, I think it's the second greatest WrestleMania opener in history.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the only WrestleMania triple threat matches I enjoy. I don't like triple threat matches at WrestleMania. I just don't.
20 and 30 are good. That's it.
20 and 30. That's it.
That's it, man. Well, I think you did a good job, man. I think you did a good job with the list.
Damn it. I was looking forward to our argument.
Yeah, I don't agree with you. Number 1, I put 26's build over that one, but it needs to be on your list. I can't argue that it shouldn't be on the list. I think there's a couple better builds in it, but I think you're just biased because you've just recently rewatched WrestleMania 30 and realized how awesome it is.
Very possible.
Because I had to sell you on how good WrestleMania 30 was.
I'm going to be 100% transparent on this. 2014 was a really dark time in my life. I watched WrestleMania 30 by myself on a cell phone, on a pirated fucking webpage on a cell phone because I couldn't afford the network. I couldn't afford to go to the theater. I couldn't, it was a very, very, very bad time in my life. And I had no friends. I had just moved to Barrie alone and knew nobody. So it was a shit time in my life. So I look back at that WrestleMania with, whatever the opposite of rose-colored glasses is.
Yeah.
And it took me this long, 8 years, I guess, to go back and watch it again. And I watched it, and I'm not going to give it away because we're about to count down our top favorite WrestleManias over the next few weeks. But it's up there. It's
Great mania.
It is from beginning to end one of my favorite WrestleManias. It was so good. And I got to tell you this, I owe you an apology. From several weeks ago, I downplayed the importance of Brock beating the Taker at WrestleMania 30. And I think it was because of where I was in my life when I watched it. Watching it now at very possibly the best time of my life. I'm the happiest and in the most healthy time I've ever been in my life. So watching it now, I was able to watch that match and respect that match so much more. And
Very
I love
emotional.
it.
Very emotional match.
I absolutely, and I like the match. I didn't hate the match.
If you want to see what the top 7 most emotional matches of all time were, go back in the archives and check them out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. So that's how we're kicking off the road to WrestleMania.
Not bad. Next week we're detouring because I'm doing a football list. I'm doing it's Super Bowl week. The Bengals are in it. I'll do a top 7, football moments in wrestling or greatest wrestlers that played in the NFL or something fun like that.
Next week? The Super Bowl's not next week.
Well, by the time the show airs, it's my list. I'm not going to have by the time it's my list and the Super Bowl will be over, you know what I mean? I'm doing it next week because I'm just not creative enough to think of it and I need more time for a mania list.
Okay.
That's it, man.
All right, man. You have anything else?
Yeah, I do. Check out everything on social media at countedout7.com. Please like and subscribe and comment. We'd love hearing the comments. We'll be doing a little bit more interactiveness going forward, which I'd be a part of. And WrestleMania season, man, I can't wait for it. Everything at www.countedout7.com. Check out the Classic Match Classroom.
Got a bunch of stuff in the works. I've got a new show I'm working on. So keep your eye on that. It's going to be big. And then, like we said, we're going to be at Barrie Wrestling on March 5th.
Yeah.
So, man, get your tickets for that. That's going to go fast.
Yeah, that's it. And go Bengals.
Who day?
Who day all day, man. Take us home, buddy.
All right. On behalf of our next Super Bowl champions, we've been counted out.
Who day? I mean, cheers.